Yani, the owner of the dog, opened the door, and the first thing he did was smash at the dog. Yani aliigonga viproper. He was sad, at looking at this, and he couldn't hold himself and went to the guy, akamuliza, why would you do this? Why would you do this to a dog? Do you know what the dog has been through? And then the guy simply and arrogantly said, it could have carried the keys with it. When you think of these things, think of the man. Think of this dog. This guy didn't know what this dog had been through. Does it remind you of some things in life that we become? Be humble, respect those around you. Try to have an impact on people who cross your path every day. Hello viewers, welcome to another edition of My Exchange this week. I'm your host, George Rabala, and as always, it's a pleasure to have you on our show. Thank you for the emails that have been coming in. Thank you for the questions that arise also on our social media platforms. Thank you also to our partners. We continue to be humbled as we endeavor to make the world a better place through the telling of powerful, inspirational stories that seek to inform, transform, and inspire our viewers to be better people seeking purpose and living and walking in purpose. This week, I'm reminded of a story of a woman. She worked at a meat factory. She'd been working there for a long time. And every day as routine, she would go around the sections of the factory, just making sure each department was working in order. So as was her routine, every morning she would say hello to the watchman. She was a very lovely, bubbly, happy lady. And like many of us, people come to mind when I think of that. Okay. Sasa, kawaida yake ilikuwaga, she checks into the factory, anasalamia kila mtu, just making sure her day goes well. So on one particular day, she reported to work but didn't leave because she found herself checking the freezers and the door accidentally closed on her. Now she was in there for hours. She had been trapped in there for hours, and she had basically lost all hope of anybody coming to save her. That's until she had the door open, like many hours later. So the security guard opened the door and called out her name. She was surprised because barely even all her colleagues, it was a big factory and everybody didn't seem to know everybody, just unless you were all working in a department. So the first thing she did was ask the security man, how did you know my name? And then, how did you know I was here? To which the guy gladly responded, and this brought tears to her eyes. He said, I knew your name because every time you signed in the register when you came in the morning, you are the only one who ever said hello, good morning to me when you came in, and also the only one who ever said goodbye, have a good evening when you left. And so I knew your name from you signing the registers and saying hi to me. I have been working here for 35 years and everybody else treated me like garbage. The woman cried uncontrollably and didn't realize that the little things she had been doing had such a huge impact on this man. Now, this man had relatives in his family who many years back also had a dog. And why these little things made such an impact in his life was because he had learned throughout life that the little things we do add up to the sum total of what we can expect from people. Now, his great-grandfather had a dog. and many parts of his life he had been disabled, and he was unable to do a lot of things. So the dog ran errands, and the dog would go to the supermarket to fetch goods. So one morning the dog had gone to the supermarket, of course with a bag tagged on the neck, and with a list of whatever it wanted. So the shopkeeper looked at the tag, gave the items, and then the dog motioned to him to look at a purse that was still on the neck where the money had been put. The shopkeeper gladly took the money, but he was curious as to where this dog was going, so he followed the dog. Now he noticed the dog getting on a bus. It had been routine because the bus drivers had known, and they would let the dog in, close the door, and pick the money from the pouch. All honest, because they probably assumed the owner was incapacitated, and it was all human nature just to do the right thing. Now upon reaching home, the door found the door closed, so it scratched on the door. The shopkeeper, who had been following, amazed at this thing, was utterly shocked when the door was opened. Yani, the owner of the dog, opened the door, and the first thing he did was smash at the dog. Yani aliigonga vipropa. He was sad, at looking at this, and he couldn't hold himself and went to the guy, akamuliza, why would you do this? Why would you do this to a dog? Do you know what the dog has been through? And then the guy simply and arrogantly said, it could have carried the keys with it. When you think of these things, think of the man. Think of this dog. This guy didn't know what this dog had been through. Does it remind you of some things in life that we become? Be humble, respect those around you. Try to have an impact on people who cross your path every day. You never know what tomorrow will bring. This is the truth of life. There's no end to the expectations people have from you. There's no end, to people could have you literally lie on the ground and still they'll tell you you did not lie flat enough. As in, you were not flat enough for me to step on you. And sometimes life pushes you so much, you want to become a vengeful, angry, jealous, bitter person. Think of Joseph. What do you think Potiphar's wife thought when he became governor of Egypt? What do you think David thought of his brothers when he learned that they did not even consider him a soldier? What do you think comes into mind when Moses thinks of the children of Israel not even interceding for him after him struggling in the desert? With them 40 years, none, not even one, interceded for him. And petitioned God and just asked, why isn't Moses coming with us? Yes, he had passed on, but none mourned that he didn't cross over. They mourned that he had gone. Life will sometimes throw bitter lemons at us, but how do you make lemonade? How do you make it out of a world that seems to expect so much from you, but doesn't want to give as little as you give back to them? How do you change these perceptions? It all starts with us viewing our lives, viewing where our strength comes from, and knowing that the grace of God is sufficient in our weakness. And only then are we able to achieve that which we cannot naturally think of doing for others. That is our message this week. I am your host, again, ever glad to be here, and I approve this message.